Okay, do we feel ready? Should we start?
Yes.
All right, then can you turn on or have you shared the PowerPoint, Natalie?
No, I will put it up now.
Perfect. But hello, everyone. How nice to see so many of us here. My name is Sophia, and I am part of EM Young, and me and Natalie will kick off this digital fika by a short presentation of who EM Young is and what we do. Then we would very much like to hear a very short introduction of who you are, our friends from that we are having this fika with today. And after that, we are going to talk about what a fika is and a short introduction, and then we will start the fika as it is, simple as that. So yes, as I said, my name is Sophia, and I am part of EM Young since this December. And EM Young, well, basically, the purpose of it's kind of a project run by the the development aid organization IM, which is Swedish for a shortage for individuell människohjälp, which is basically like individual human aid, basically. And this project that EM Young is a one-year project with 3 employees, and the rest of us who are part of EM Young is just basically ambassadors who take part of the activities that the employees fix for us. As an example, this fika. We've had a digital fika earlier, last year, and it was very, very much fun. But the goal basically of EM Young, like the main goal, is to create a platform to strengthen young people's influence and participation in both the organization as a whole, but as I have also understood it, that it's basically about hearing the voices of young people in important questions that I am Young basically work with, and to help us organize ourselves in local groups and participate in the movement to achieve a democratic and equal society. I hope that sums it up. And now I believe we would very much like to hear a presentation of who you are, your organization. So does anyone from NGOCC want to present who you are?
I don't know if they come from NGOCC, but
sorry.
It's the umbrella organization, but you can tell us the name of your organization and shortly what you're working with.
Yes, that would be great.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So my name is Grace Nachila. I'm from YWCA, Young Women Christian Association, a member organization of NGOCC, and which works with women on women empowerment, as well as youth empowerment, gender-based violence, and HIV prevention projects. And I'm currently with NGOCC's Young Women's Network, and I am the provincial chairperson of Lusaka, advocating on the ending of child marriage and sexual reproductive health and rights. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Grace. Does anyone else want to say hi from their organization?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Kaunga Zulu. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm from Young Women in Action, YWA Zambia. And this is an organization that also works with the empowerment of young women and youth, especially in governance issues and decision-making processes. We deal with issues of sexual reproductive health rights, governance issues, women's participation in politics and leadership positions. And I currently stand as the board publicity secretary. I'm working with NGOCC as well. I'm working as well.
I don't know if it's just me, but I lost you there. So it was the last part I didn't hear. If you would take it again.
Where did you lose me?
I think it was approximately like where you talked about what you do at the workstation, I think.
I am the board publicity secretary for Young Women in Action.
Hmm?
And the board publicity secretary for Young Women in Action. And I am the regional Young Women's Network secretary on Indian child marriages under NGOCC. It's nice to meet you all.
Okay. Thank you. Nice, very nice to meet you too. I'm sure, does anyone else want to say hi, or should we move along?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hello. So, my name is Margaret Muluku, and I'm currently a member of two organizations under NGOCC, which are YWCA as well as World Day of Prayer. So I'm also the national chairperson for Young Women Network, a network that is striving to end child marriages in Zambia, as well as to deal with other issues that affect young girls today, issues to do with teenage pregnancies, sexual reproductive health and rights. So we do a lot of advocacy. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Thank you, very nice to meet you. A lot of inspiring organization here today, I must say. But to get on with this fika and to have these discussions that we're going to have, I think we might move on. So Natalie, can you take over?
Natalie, your mic is muted.
Okay, is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, let's go again. So we're having a digital fika, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about what fika actually means. It's this great Swedish tradition that we engage in every day, and it translates to have a coffee, but it means so much more than that. You can have a baked good with it and have a cookie or something, or it doesn't have to be coffee, it can be tea or hot chocolate, and it's really a chance to socialize after lunch and regain some energy. So that's what we're going to do today. We love fika so much that we have specific days each year when we celebrate some of the baked goods. So we have the cinnamon bun, the saffron bun, the chocolate balls. Most of them have a day where we just celebrate them. And this Tuesday, actually, we had Fat Tuesday, which is a day to celebrate the semla, which is the one that's a bun and lots of whipped cream. So on that day, I think everyone from Sweden here had a semla because it's so big, and we just really appreciate the fika. Right, so the fika, as I said, is used to socialize, and we want to do it now with you. We want to get to know you. So
sorry to interrupt you, Natalie. Are you sharing a screen?
Oh, can you not see it?
No.
Uh-huh. Well, that's not nice. Can you see my screen now?
No.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you look close to the red button to leave the meeting, next to it is an icon that you need to click, Natalie.
Turn off camera?
No, it says dela
No.
innehåll.
Oh, it's another. There's a camera, a microphone, and another one, and it's the other one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm pressing that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's always some technical difficulties we have to bear with sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm sending a link in the chat to like a Google search of semla. So anyone who is interested in knowing what that is can look at that, and that's basically what every single Swede ate yesterday on Fat Tuesday.
Thank you.
It's very good.
Okay. Right. So we wanted to use this fika to get to know you a little bit and have a little nice conversation. So we wanted to start with introducing ourselves with our names and what we want to do when the pandemic, when Corona ends, because it's a nice thing to think about. I can start. My name is Natalie, and the first thing I'm going to do when it's officially over is I want to go out and meet all of my friends at once at the same time. Sophia, do you want to go next?
I sure can. So my name is Sophia, and when the pandemic is officially over, I want to be in a very crowded room and dance a lot. So with that being said, that was me. Maybe we can give the word to Barbara. Remember to turn off your microphones or turn on your microphones if you want to say hi. Okay, Barbara, do you hear us? Okay, then maybe can we hear a short presentation from Gabriella then?
Yes, I just have to start with semla is my favorite pastry of all time. I think you lost me. Do you hear me? You still hear me? Okay, yeah. But I didn't know that it was like semmeldag yesterday. Like I've already had 5 semlor. I ate one Sunday, I ate one Friday. So when it was the semmeldag, and I was like, shit, I had to buy one, and they were all gone. So I didn't have one. That's so sad. But what I will do when Corona is officially over, I think I will just spend a lot of time like outside, like sitting in parks, being in like spaces where you have to think about that you can't go today. I just want to go around and not think, you know, like it's and definitely have all of our friends over, because me and my partner, we moved into an apartment and we haven't even had like an official like, hey, we moved in, you know. So I think we wanted to have that, and we have a barbecue so you can do it. So I think I'm gonna order some friends over for a barbecue. Okay, now I should send this forward, and let's see. Patricia, are you there? You wanna take over? Say hi.
Yes, I'm here, but I'm just an observer. I'll pass it on to
Okay.
Tawonga.
That's fine. You can still share, Patricia. You can tell us who you are, right?
Okay, I'm Patricia. I'm from NGOCC Zambia.
Okay, nice to meet you.
So I'll pass it on to Tawonga to introduce herself. Tawanga.
Hi everyone. Yes. Sorry, I forgot to unmute my mic for a second. I already introduced myself, but I'll say it again. I'm Tawanga Zulu, from an organization, Young Women in Action, which is a member of NGOCC. And what I would like to do when Corona finishes is I would like to go watch a movie at the cinema. Just sit down and watch a comedy and laugh.
I think it's a little bit of bad connection, Tonga. I missed the last part.
I said I'd love to go watch a movie at the cinemas on my own. Like, I don't have to go with anyone. I just want to go there, watch a comedy, like a really, really funny movie, buy popcorn, have crisps and chocolate, and just enjoy myself. Because we can't do it now. So, yeah. Thank you. I pass it over to Naomi.
Your microphone is off, Naomi.
Sorry for that. My name's Naomi Chiluro from Zambia. What I would like to do after this pandemic is to go out and have fun with my friends. So I'm from the non-organization for Young Women's Network, and as well as Young Women's Christian Association, which is under NGOCC. So that's what I would like. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Then maybe we can hear who Catalina is.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just got out of the bus. So yes, my name is Katarina. Sorry for not seeing me so well, but it's dark outside. Can someone say the questions? Because I could not hear them very well.
We would just like to hear your name and what you would like to do when COVID ends.
Oh, when COVID ends, I will definitely travel and meet my friends and family. I said it already. Should I say the name of the next person who's going to speak well?
If you want to, you can.
Elias. You can say your name, please.
We
can hear
heard
you.
We cannot hear you, Elias.
There, is that better?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Well, as previously stated, I'm Elias Lofgren, and I don't actually have any plans for when the pandemic ends. Anyone else?
I can just jump in here and present myself. My name is Winston, and what do I want to do? It feels like it's so far away. I have no plans either. I just want to, I don't know, give like a really massive hug to like 10 people at the same time and just stand there. That's what I want to do. I don't know if there's anybody left who hasn't presented himself. Maybe Natalia.
Which Natalia? You mean me? Winston? Hey, I'm Natalia, and for me is COVID finished 8 months ago, maybe because I got a lot of information, and about this I am positive. I'm not positive about political issue, which still continue. But if it's officially finished, I'd like to start some ecological project at my country. I came from Ukraine, and I'd like to invite there my Swedish friend too. and not just Swedish, everybody who want to live a free society. Thank you.
Shall I also? Yeah, my name is Virginia, and I also don't have so much plans. But I think if I had to choose, I would go out and socialize, because I think this internet and also digitalization, sometimes it can give a negative effect on health, depression, because it was talking about this before. People wrote articles about it. So I think we could get benefit is by socializing, by going to social activities, museums, all those things.
All right, thank you. Can we have Margaret, maybe?
Okay, hi everyone again. So I think one of the things that I would love to do when this whole entire pandemic thing ends is just to visit my favorite place, that is the children's section in the hospital. It's so much fun dancing and singing for them. I really, really miss doing that. So it's the first thing that I would actually do.
Thank you for that, Margaret. Who do we want? Does anyone have anyone maybe not presented themselves and wished to do that?
I can present myself.
Perfect.
My name is Soraya, and I'm one of the project lead of I'm Young. And the first thing, I'm with Taunga. I miss cinema. I miss going to the cinema and just sit there with a huge popcorn, a huge Pepsi or Coke, and just relax and just watch a movie. That maybe we can meet each other, can travel and meet each other and see a movie together.
We just have to.
Yes.
We have to.
We should. I send it to Andrea.
Yes, hello. So actually what I want to do is meet my parents, because I haven't seen them during these Corona times really, because they are a bit older, and maybe when they are vaccinated we can meet, but it's better to meet when everything is over. So I look forward to that actually. Yeah. So yeah, and by the way, I also work for the project. Okay, so who hasn't spoken? What about Barbara? Did you speak already?
I haven't spoken either.
Okay, so go ahead, actually.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Clara, and I'm new in the project for EM, and I'm very excited to become a part of this project. When the pandemic is officially over, I would like to go to a crowded concert and listen to some good music. And since I'm new, I don't know your names, but perhaps, yeah, is there anyone who hasn't spoken yet?
I think we haven't heard from some of you yet, but what about Banda Lisa?
Good evening, everyone. For me, my name is Abanda Lisa, and what I would like to do after the pandemic is just to interact with my fellow youths, yes, and also going to church, listening to music, going out for different concerts, music concerts. Yeah, I've really missed that. Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could we hear, I don't think Grace has said hello. Okay, do you hear us, Grace? Hello, sorry.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so what I would like to do after the pandemic, we are, as a Young Women's Network, and the NGOCC, we have a lot of activities lined up. And the exciting part is going out in the community, having community outreaches like we do, because we can't have them now because of COVID-19. So after the pandemic, I'm looking forward to meeting the young women, the young girls, the young boys, talk about issues of ending child marriage, sexual reproductive health rights, just having that peer-to-peer discussion, face-to-face discussion. Trust me, I cannot wait and very excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Now let's see. I am very sorry if I pronounce your name wrong, but Tokosile, do you want to say hi?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Hello. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So hello to everyone. Sorry, I was actually having some technical challenges. I would agree with Grace. I'm part of NGOCC and I miss going for outreaches. I miss being around people. I miss going for like having peer-to-peer interactions. I miss helping people. I miss going to orphanages and also having sensitizations in our communities, having feminist meetings. There's just so much that has been put on hold. And one other thing that I miss is actually working with people to ensure that the rates of early pregnancies reduces. So apparently, because of the COVID-19, people in Zambia, a lot of teenagers in Zambia have got like pregnant. One school actually had a total of 180 girls who are less than 18 years that got pregnant from March to August, which was like a really, really huge devastation because we're trying to end teenage marriages. So I look forward to seeing a time when all those cases actually get to reduce. And also, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to learning from this digital fika.
Thank you very much. Has anyone not presented themselves now?
I think Erika or Ellen, have you presented yourself?
No, I just arrived. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So, is there a question to answer, or I just say who I am?
Say what your name is and what's the first thing you want to do when COVID ends.
Oh, okay. My name is Ellen, and the first thing I want to do when COVID ends is go traveling.
All right, and then we have Erica left. Do you want to say hello, Erica?
We
I don't
cannot
know
really
if you can hear you. Yeah, it's really low. You can hear something sound, but not your voice.
Erika, could you please go closer to the microphone because I think you're a bit far away.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I would love to meet new people across the world and just to work with my fellow youth. This time we are just working. There is nothing to do, and I would love to go and meet the community. I've got a lot of work to do with my youth. So I think a lot of work is waiting. A lot of work is pending. So I'm just so anxious to go out there, to be with my family out, to meet new people, make friends out there. That's all.
All right, thank you very much, Erica. So I think everyone has said hello now. So if everyone feels ready, we could maybe move on with our discussions.
Yes. Is there anyone that has a question that you want to ask everyone?
May I just put a small comment, because the presentation part took a little bit longer than we planned. Is it okay if we put the meeting up a little bit longer so we can discuss a little bit more? Is that fine with all of you? Yes. And if you have to go, you can go, but I think that we will need a little bit more time to have for the discussion, because I think we do have a lot of questions to each other. Okay.
It's fine by me. Soraya, do you want to?
I have a question.
Sure.
What did you make how did you feel like you wanted to? This is from all of you from Zambia, right? It's Zambia. How did you feel like you wanted to engage in these questions? Like, how did it start? And was it easy to find like an organization that you wanted to join? And yeah. And how does it feel now?
Does anyone want to answer Gabriela's question?
Please repeat your question. I couldn't get it very clearly.
You didn't hear the question?
Hello.
I can see the hello.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
All right. So, in case the line breaks, I'll opt to text. But in the meantime, if I got your question right, you said how did we hear about organizations and get to join them, right? Or particularly NGOCC?
Yeah. Like, what urged you like to start working or being in an organization, and how do you feel now? Do you feel like it's going well and you can you're improving the goals you want to do? And yeah, just like talk about your experience and the organization, and how do you feel like you can improve your goals in the organization?
All right. So personally, I have always had a passion for. Okay, it's that thing where when growing up, I didn't really get to realize that it was actually being an advocate that was more like imprinted in me, or something I would love to do, because I always opted for medicine and things like that. However, growing up, I realized that so many people in my class were going through so many things, from things as far as being tortured, abused, harassed, and certain things that we don't speak about, like patriarchy and things like that. And I started a group or movement at my school that actually was able to help certain girls pay for their school fees and things like that. And because of that, I was recognized by one organization called Restless Development. And because of that, I started working with other organizations. Then I started going for outreaches, and we started helping more girls, reaching out to more people. Personally, I am a children's rights advocate and mostly proudly a feminist, and that has also helped me to see the marginalized women and see how we can help them, see how best we can try by all means to make things go better. So my country is third world nation. It's a developing country, so there is like so many gaps that we need to bridge. And for me, being young but still being able to be the change I want to see is a really, really huge hope, because I've been able to see so much difference. So by partnering with other people, I can see so much change, and it's actually working. So Young Women's Network is a network under NGOCC. However, it's how can I put this? It's more like it has member organizations. So all of us that form the Young Women's Network movement are from different organizations and different provinces. So we have people on the district level, community level, provincial level, national level, and even as far as Zambia, Malawi, and Zimbabwe, like 3 countries. So what we do is we help with the ending of child marriages. How do we do that? By if somebody is married off, we engage partnering organizations, mostly NGOCC, which has helped us, and also we get to have sensitizations, we get to have anti-marriage clubs, and so on and so forth. Yeah, personally, so I don't know if there's anything else or if there are questions.
Yeah, it really does. It's super interesting. Sophia have raised her hand. I'm just gonna quickly say, like, I'm really engaged in this question as well, and I'm so glad that there are organizations working for this. Like, it's hard to know what you can do. We have I don't know if you heard of the Hunger Project, but it's this black ring you can buy, and that's to help to stop child marriage as well. Like, I just think it's really wonderful that you're engaging in this organization. And yeah, you answered the question. So now Sophia can.
Yeah, I can only agree. I thought your story was really admirable. But I would just like, because you said that you are very proudly a feminist, and I think that lots of you also come from feminist organization or women rights organization. So I would just like to ask, like, what would you say, like, being a feminist in your country, what is that like? If anyone wants to answer that question.
Hello, can I go ahead?
Sure.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Being feminist, I'll answer according to my. So for starters, Zambia, as I said, is a very patriarchal country, implying that most of our society is based on the man being the head of the family or the man having most of the privileges. And another thing that is very skeptical is the word feminist or feminist. Most people think, in Zambia actually, most people think if you're a feminist, then you're single, you're a man hater, you're a man trash talker, and things like that. So that's sort of challenging, even as much as we are trying to break the ice. But to me, being a feminist is more of I am a person that supports equality and equality of both sexes. So even as much as I support equality of both sexes, I do realize that most of the people that are disadvantaged are the women, and what are we going to do to help them? So that's where I step in. So I'm mostly biased towards women because we are the most underprivileged in society. So according to people, when you introduce yourself as feminist, there's always going to be that, in Zambia, there's always going to be that negative backlash because they're thinking you're a man talker or a trash talker of men, but eventually they get to realize that, oh, okay, it's actually more like egalitarianism or something like that, but it's actually equality at the end of the day. I'll allow somebody from Zambia to answer in case they have a different opinion.
Just to add on to what Professor said, I feel like here in Zambia, another thing that people also view as feminism is they're looked at as a woman who is bitter, who is angry at the world, or traditionally speaking, a disrespectful young lady or woman who doesn't want to listen to what culture dictates that you should do. It also means that maybe you're disrespectful, you do not like what the older generation is saying about you, and you do not believe in the whole concept of you being submissive to men, or you listening, or from the Christian perspective, God's flexible. Thank you.
Sorry, we couldn't. I think it was bad connection again. We couldn't hear the last part that you were saying.
Sorry, I live in a hilly area and it's been raining for a while, so the network is pretty bad. I was saying that even in the Christian space, feminism is viewed as demonic. It's a very negative term or way to introduce yourself. Like if I approach someone who's Christian or who's a very firm believer, I am a Christian, I'm a firm believer. They will view me as someone who's maybe possessed or who's believing in things that are not going to positively impact on my life. And also I'll be viewed as very disrespectful, negative, and you even find instances where if I'm getting into a relationship with someone else, people will warn the man saying, careful, that girl is a feminist. She's not going to be listening if you marry her. So those are some of the things that we go through. I'm really hoping that you can hear me. So thank you.
Yes, we heard you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thokosile, you raised your hand.
Your mic is not on.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, we can hear you now. Oh, sorry, this is Maggie.
Hi, Maggie.
Hi. Okay, I just wanted to contribute on what Taonga said. In our country, Zambia, the way they kind of view the feminist, the way they just like describe a feminist, it's kind of weird because to some extent, it's like for a woman, the higher you aim, if you decide to aim like higher, it becomes more like an intimidating thing to the other sex or even just to the people around the community. Like it's kind of hard. Like it's in various communities where we're coming from. It's very difficult. Like you can't even make a decision so easily because you are afraid of the stigma surrounding everything, especially when it comes to pertaining higher positions or just kind of, having that drive that to kind of push you to where you want to be. Because I believe there's so much potential in young women as well as young girls right here in Zambia, but due to the stigma surrounding the feminism weight and everything, it's kind of hard. And because I remember when I was deciding on what to study, the moment I mentioned to say I want to become a lawyer, like everybody started talking and speaking to say, when you become a lawyer, no man will actually marry you. Like you can't really start aiming so high. Like you can't, you end up being a feminist and your life will be stagnant and everything. You will not be able to have a family and everything. So it's so frustrating because being a feminist doesn't mean that you actually disrespect the other opposite sex, or that you begin to now undermine the whole entire generation or community. But it's all about knowing who you are and having that potential in you that you are able to do this, you are able to attain that position no matter what. But it's kind of hard that people see it, view the feminism thing in a different way, and it's so frustrating to some extent. So frustrating.
Right, thank you. We have a few others raising their hands. Tokosil, did you want to say something?
We have some questions in the chat. Maybe we can have a look. There is one by Tokosile. She says, hello, I have a question. Considering that Sweden is a feminist country, congratulations. How did you manage to achieve that? And how did you do to help the women be as free as they are? Is there anyone who wants to respond to that? Gabriella or Natalie, do you want to?
I can. It's first have to say that like it's really nice. I didn't know we were considered a feminist country. I mean, it's a lot of feminists, but I totally feel everything you're saying. Like that's really a part of our life here as well. Like there are still, like, it's really developing. Like a lot of guys are really embracing, like, and understanding, and you can talk about it a lot among my guy friends, and they're like, we understand you, of course, that's your feeling, like we're behind you, and they can understand my fears and what women are going through. But some men, and especially older, like, they don't understand at all. They could be exactly like you said, like they're not like my ex-boyfriend didn't like, he was like, you have too much opinion, don't have any political opinion about everything, you have too much opinions, and like, because he thought I talked too much, and like, so you can feel that everywhere around you, that someone thinks that's like, as soon as you mention feminism among some guys, they're like, why are you always so mad about guys? Like, do you hate guys? And I'm like, what? Like, so it's the same thing here, but I feel a lot more, maybe because I don't know, but they have started to embrace it, and I think it's exactly what you're doing. Just keep on what you're doing. I think that's the way. It's like, just show them that no, we're talking for women's rights. We are not trash talking the men, and men also benefit from feminists, because we don't want this patriarchal structure that is also, how do you say, pushing down men. And Winston and Elias, you can jump in here if you feel like say something wrong, or if you feel like it is something that can contribute for you as well. Yeah, or if you want to jump in, but I feel like it's just to keep on doing what you're doing, and like try to tell everyone that we want to work for our rights, and this is what we need, and like start a community, talk with each other, and embrace each other, and or anyone who wants to jump in. Like, I don't know how we got here.
Something quickly. I think they're moving towards very formal feminism, where we have like laws in place, and we have a general idea that women and men should be equal, but then it doesn't always translate into actions. People think that feminism is good when it's convenient, and then when it isn't, it's always like, you can always laugh about sexist jokes, and then, you know, if someone gets offended, they just say that it's a joke, then we shouldn't feel that. So I think that just formally we are considered a feminist country, but there's so much underneath it that isn't living up to that standard. I just wanted to add that. Right. Anyone else from the Swedish side that wanted to comment on that? Or should we move on?
No, I just want to say, Soraya, you wanted to talk?
No, I just want to say if someone have another questions, maybe.
Let's go.
Otherwise, shoot, Gabriella.
Yeah, no, but I totally agree with Natalie. Like, there are sex jokes a lot of times, like, shouldn't your woman be in the kitchen? And like my ex, it was a really patriarchal family. Like, he was joking that, oh, my woman is ironing all my shirts. I did it once for her, so she thought I was doing it all the time, but then I never did it again. Ha 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 ha. And then like, we're sitting at this family dinner, and every guy looked at their woman and like, you're ironing all my shirts as well. And I'm just like, I don't like this, you know, like it was. And if I would have a beer, they look at me like, women are supposed to drink wine. Like they had this, you were inserted in this, like, you should only be a woman in this context, and a woman shouldn't do that, and a woman should think that, dress like that. And I was just like, it's really annoying. But I think what really helps is also like that women are like, how do you say, being there for each other, and like encouraging each other. And when a guy says a joke that someone's there to say, like in a regular context among your friends, you're someone who says like it ain't funny, like, and then it's really good if like people are saying like I agree, it's not funny. So just keep on like backing each other. When someone says it's really scary, but there to say like we are not laughing, like it's not funny, like it's scary, but yeah, that's what I would say. Any from your experience in Zambia that wants to say something?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So my experience has been, it has been a great journey. For me personally, my passion grew uh, due to my experiencing different forms of gender-based violence, which led for me to have that view, for me to have that pain to say, okay, this must end and it must start with me, and I must take action. I've been a victim of child marriage, a victim of defilement, a victim of, like I mentioned, different forms of gender-based violence. It also it was it forced me to act. It forced me to take a step to say, look, you must take part in ending this fight. You must take part in ending gender-based violence. You must take part in ending child marriage or teen pregnancies. Because I got pregnant when I was only 17. But when I was only 17, up just when I turned 18, I had a daughter, and trust me, I had no idea of how to look after a child, etc., etc. So after all those sufferings, all those experiences, I said to say I must take an action, because in Zambia, I think teen pregnancies as well as child marriage, it increases day by day. We have a lot of girls that are out of school, a lot of girls that have gone into marriages, a lot of girls that have been abused but are not speaking out. So for me, I decided to say, okay, they always say a great beginning starts when you decide. So I decided to take part, and my passion grew and grew, and I engaged myself with different vibrant youths that I even write on this meeting. And I got exposed to different organizations, different opportunities and workshops that really helped me grow or maybe build my personal and also interpersonal skills on how to communicate, on how to under certain issues of maybe outreaches, how do I facilitate, how do I mentor people. And yeah, it has been a great journey. And also one thing that has really been great for me, and I wouldn't want to see my daughter suffer. Like I wouldn't want to see my child get pregnant at 13. I would want to see my daughter get married at 16. So that forces me every day to work so hard, advocate the end of teen pregnancies, advocate the end of child marriage, and engaging myself with different organizations has been a great experience, because I've learned a lot and I'm still learning a lot, and hopefully yeah, I want to have my own organization. So hopefully I have my own organization and continue helping the girl child and the boy child. Thank you.
Do you get some help from the government or maybe from the organization if you get a child when you're 16, 17? Is there some help to get?
Okay, so in line with that question, there isn't as much. So apparently, because it's still a developing nation, yes, some of that is in our statutes, it's part of our policies, but because we do not have enough money that's been allocated to sexual reproductive health rights and services like that, so most people do not get money for having, because also a lot of people are married at young ages, a lot of people have children. So if the government is to spend or to start helping certain families and things like that, it would be a huge expense on them. And I think that's one reason why they haven't really tapped into it. Not that they shouldn't be doing, but they have to be doing it. But they haven't really allocated as much fund in line with that. Also, if
somebody is taking care of children, let's say fostering them, it's basically on their own will, and if you're financially stable to do that. Otherwise, we also have cases of street kids, children that do not live in homes and things like that, homeless kids and stuff like that, because we're still developing. So we have like so many areas where there's so many gaps that we need to reach out. And I agree with Gabriela. I actually had a similar experience. Okay, actually similar experiences. I personally hate it when they're trying to, like, how can I put it? I'll be in a class and let's say we have to clean the class, right? And they'll be like, let the females do it because they're used to doing this. It's their duty. As men, we cannot be cleaning the house. And I'm like, hell no. Like, I mean, we are all in this class together. So if I'm cleaning, you must be cleaning it as well. I think that's one reason why I grew fond of mathematics, because growing up, people always told me, no, math is for men. Females don't love math. They love English. Stick to English. And I'm like, no, I love math. So I always used to make sure I beat every guy in class. I make sure I'm the highest, so that, you know, that thing. And I didn't realize it was actually being feminist. But yeah, so it's even in small things that we even don't realize that this is actually being patriarchal. This is actually unfairness. So I think it's all about sensitization, working harder to improve our lives. I wanted to find out in cases where somebody is being unfair, are there any, how can I put this? Are there any ways, or let's say harassment, sexual harassment, are there any procedures you take or any steps you take? That's if you're working with organizations or individually, are there any steps you take to make sure the law is actually enforced?
Who wants?
Good question. Yes, who wants to answer? Who wants to start?
But I can say that I think that the Me Too movement was it in Zambia as well, the Me Too hashtag. I see you nod. No. Yes, no.
I know.
Yes. It was this hashtag where you wrote Me Too, and that spread over the internet. And if you wrote Me Too, then a woman who wrote Me Too, she meant that I've been sexually harassed or like used or anything like. And then a lot of women were spreading this hashtag, not writing anything else but the hashtag. And it can be on like Facebook, Instagram, your social media, like this Me Too hashtag. And I think that really like got the government to hear like the women's voices, and they actually if they actually adopted the law where you have to have consent to have sex. So you have to know it's a yes, and if it's a no, they can be felled for it, and they can go into prison and get fined for it. So that was a really nice thing to see that the government were listening, and I think the hashtag did a lot, because you can hear that they're talking in the Swedish government about the Me Too hashtag. So they're like, what can we do for women? And so that was one thing that I think was good. If anyone else knows like more, they can.
Well, I'm not an expert, but I believe that there are like, we have like something called the discriminatory law, like diskrimineringslagen, which is basically that it's illegal to discriminate any person due to their sex, their sexual orientation, their religion, their political views, basically anything that you could be discriminated for. It's illegal in Sweden. But as we have talked about before, we have that law in place, but it's maybe not always pulled through all the way. But so we have that at like every work, like almost every big company in like Sweden, like everyone that has employees have like it's their obligation to like report if something happens to anything like sexual harassment or stuff like that. So I think that there are a lot of like safety nets and a lot of laws and a lot of rules that are supposed to like and sometimes do maybe help when something happens that shouldn't happen, but it differs maybe with, because if you have a boss that don't care about sexual harassment, then he's not going to report it and then nothing's going to happen. But if you have, then that will become some sort of process, and then either you can go to court, or maybe just that person, I don't really know the laws, it could be moved from the company or something. But I believe that there are some different like laws and rules, and then there are also organizations like working to like increase the effectivity of these, and that they are actually being used and followed and stuff like that. I hope that answered your question.
I just wanted to add just quickly that when the laws fails, when it's word for word and you can't really make a case out of it, media is always usually there to report. If there's cases where they can't really decide what to do, then the media will always report it, and then it becomes a thing that people talk about, and it creates a conversation. So even though it can't be solved the way we want to solve it, we at least have like a good conversation about it, and that leads to people acting maybe in these organizations that you talked about, Sophia. So.
Yes, and you can always report to the police whenever you get sexual harassed, either if it's in private or at workplace. And you also have, normally you have a union at your workplace that can help you with the process as well. Before the new law that Gabriella was talking about, the type of consent, the police got many reports about rape. But since the law was implemented, the police saw that the cases increased a lot, and that's a good sign. The law basically says that you have to, as Gabriella says, you have both of the parts in a sexual action needs to say yes for having sex, and if you can prove that you are not, some people, they are maybe drunk, but the male partner still had sex with the female, then you can say I was not okay with him having sex with me. And through that law today, it's easier for the woman to get right in court and to get the male in jail, basically. So the new law is really, really good. I see 2 hands up, Margaret and Grace.
I think Grace was before.
Oh. Did you have any comments?
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think we lost her. Do we have another question maybe? And then wait for Grace to reconnect.
Hello?
Oh, yes.
I just want to ask Toko, the question, was it for Sweden or Zambia? I just want to answer on behalf of, not on behalf, but the Zambian law says really that falls under sexual violence. And then it's not really, I think such cases in Zambia are not really like they're not really taken seriously. In a case where we have a perpetrator and um, a victim. So most cases in Zambia don't even go through. Like a victim would report to the police and there'll be no action. Even after the police, maybe the victim would want to go to the courts of law, no action. This law is not really strong. Like they haven't really strengthened the law in Zambia. And I feel as though as advocates, we should take up this role of trying to advocate that such laws should be strengthened. Such laws should be taken seriously as in victims. We have a lot of young girls that are victims, even boys, young men that are victims. But because we don't have such we don't have strong policies, or rather let me say policies or maybe laws that are strong, that to convict or maybe question the perpetrator, or maybe even have some sentences, or yeah, maybe if I just want to say, as advocates, we should take up such laws. If we see that in Sweden it's working, they have such the government has taken it seriously to say, okay, we have a lot of victims and a lot of cases, let's do this and that. So I feel it came from the young people themselves, the voices of the young people. So we have the strong voice as young people to say we have we have increased number of victims and also perpetrators. So what do? We need to advocate to strengthen such laws and policies in Zambia. Thank you.
Yeah, should we see then Margaret and Tonga, you have your hands up. Wants to go first? Margaret, you want to go?
I think I'll go first. Yeah. So just to add on what Grace is just from explaining, in Zambia, when it comes to issues to do with sexual harassment, it's not that the government hasn't really put in laws or penalties when it comes to such matters, but it has actually done that, because we've got the Zambian Penal Code as well as the Criminal Procedure Code that kind of highlights more on the punishments and everything when it comes to such issues. I think the problem comes in when it comes to proving to say this really happened. Some people are kind of, duressed when it comes to like providing evidence. Some are actually they're actually afraid to come forth because it might be a relative doing that to them. So they're kind of afraid to put their families in shame. And we've discovered to say some traditional beliefs that kind of infringe, or rather kind of contribute to such matters not being heard or evidence being adduced. So for me, I feel the government has actually put in place penalties, and it has actually made sure that it has outlined the things that that can actually help out. I think when it comes to advocacy, it's just a matter of telling the people, because I have noticed to say youths are not actually interested in knowing what kind of laws Parliament is passing, especially when it comes to issues relating to them. They're not actually interested at all. They complain, but they're not interested to know what kind of laws have been put in place. Because for you to actually complain, you need to make sure that you know the kind of laws that they've put in place. If they're not in line or supporting or maybe kind of uplifting or encouraging, then you need to stand out. So it's a matter of advocating to the community at large, bringing forth awareness to say, if somebody does this, the law provides for this, there's such and such penalties. People are actually blank. They are not aware.
Thank you. Now, was it Tonga? Was it you, Nick? If you hear me.
Just in addition to what Grace and Margaret have been saying, I think one of the other problems is not only is it that it's not just a problem of no laws or policies being available, it's also a matter of the fact that we have instances where people report cases in the first quarter of the year, like maybe we're looking at it from 2020 perspective, 2020, 2019. In 2019, we had a total of 5,558 cases being reported of gender-based violence against women and children. And in 2020, we had 5,050 cases being reported in the first quarter. And there was roughly a decline of 544. And I remember being in a meeting where the police were actually presenting a report and talking about the number of cases that had been withdrawn. And we're looking at it from the perspective of why are these cases being allowed, why are these women being allowed to withdraw their cases? And then I also think about the fact that Zambia is a dual legal system, and there are some instances in the community where after a woman has been abused, she goes to the leaders in the community, and the leaders actually send her back to the marriage, or they tell her, no, the man loves you, that's him showing you that he loves you, he's abusing you, but he loves you. Or the police actually asking the person who's been abused to take a call out to her abuser. So you find a lot of people withdrawing their cases. So I feel like that doesn't support and help victims of abuse keep their cases with the report or actually push it through, because it's too tedious for them to go through with everything. And then we also have a lack of implementation of policies that are actually in place. I think that's one of the biggest problems. There is just lack of implementation and equality act, but nothing is happening, nothing is taking place. So these are things we should consider: lack of implementation, the process is too long, and we also have stigma. People are scared of what the community is going to say when you report your cases, because you report your case and the police people start talking about it. Maybe there's a lack of privacy somewhere and someone heard about it, and sooner or later the whole community knows you were raped. No victim wants that. People value their privacy. I won't report a case if I know the whole community will know I was raped. I want my privacy. So I believe those are also things that we should consider. Thank you.
Thank you. Like, I totally agree. Like, I feel that every woman I talk to is like, you feel very like ashamed to talk about these things. Like, I've had a friend who was in a very abusive relationship, and she's gonna, how do you say, put charges on him, and she has evidence, but she's so super scared of it, and she's like, I've recorded things he's said when he has threatened me and stuff, and she's like so scared that he will find her and stuff. So I think that it's really what people are scared about. Okay, let's see, Sophia, you raised your hand.
Yes, I did, and I was just I don't remember now. I think it was Margaret that talked about it being a big issue that you experience, that youths in your country don't really engage in the political decisions that happen, and don't really understand maybe how that could affect them, the decisions that are being made. And I believe that that's an issue that is a little bit of everywhere, that in every country that there are more or less people that are more or less involved and aware of the political decisions that happen. But do you have any idea of how you could possibly change that, or why that is in Zambia?
Can I answer that?
It's fine by me. It's fine by me. You can answer that.
All right. So apparently, Zambia has quite a right been. It's still developing, as I keep on saying, but then that's no excuse for youths not being able to engage. So apparently, we have a high rate of unemployment in Zambia, and Also, let me start with the school curriculum. So the school curriculum basically focuses on Western information, Western culture, because actually we were colonized by Britain, and most of our books, most of our literature, most of our history has elements of other countries. It is good, but then the problem is we don't really have most of our information. Like we'll talk about human rights, we'll talk about English common law and things like that. But when it comes to high school, secondary and primary education, we don't really have things incorporating our laws, our policies. It's literally a little or not enough. And also we also have our constitution being amended a lot of times, so people are also failing to catch up on that. So I believe if it was like, if the constitution, our policies and stuff like that were highlighted from as early as maybe first grade, third grade, seventh grade, it would actually build that interest for people to know their rights and know what they have. And also other people don't really get to take such courses, take such classes, so they don't really get to know certain information. Also, we are focusing more on employment that we do on our own rights, that people are just looking for means and ways to survive. They're looking for means and ways to feed, so they don't really pay much attention to what's going on in the law. So long as they have food on their tables, so long as they're able to take care of whoever they're supposed to take care of, that's what's good for them. It's like, it's more of, what are we going to do to survive tomorrow? And because we live less than $1, so they'd rather spend their money on food as compared to bandos researching on what the policy is saying and things like that. Also, our policies are not really being publicized on television and radio. So unless you're connected to certain firms, unless you're connected to um, certain people that will enlighten you on certain issues about the law and policies and stuff like that, you won't really get to know that certain policies exist. Or if you're watching news, which will barely talk about it, because most of the times it's more political as compared to informative. So we get to have so many things that are actually contributing to youths not being interested. Also, we are having youths that are spending most of their time, okay, because of lack of proper information to sexual reproductive health rights. We're also having things where girls spend most of their time, since they don't know how to control their emotions, we don't know how to yes, control our emotions, or we don't have things to keep us busy, recreative stuff, places and things like that. Most people tend to indulge themselves in sexual activities, and that's mostly what they are doing. So in the process, they might not be accessing that information, but that's not our aim. So we have tried highlighting policies, but to some extent there's some improvement, but it's little to nothing. So that's where our gap actually is.
Can I just add on to what you said? There's this common saying in Zambia that says, the key to success is education. I feel like we're so stuck on that saying where we believe 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 is the only way we can get to. That's it. We forget that you could do 4 minus 2 or 3 minus 1 or 1 times 2. We don't look at other aspects of it. I think, like what you spoke about unemployment, so we're stuck on that one thing. For youth, there is the lack of employment, so we find ourselves not always being interested in political issues. We find every time you tune into news, there's something political happening, or youth are very afraid as well. I've had a lot of opportunities to engage with a lot of youth in different spaces from the organization I'm with, because there was a project on youth participating in governance issues, and we've spoken with them, and most of them have said, we are afraid. Like, freedom of expression, yes, it's our right, but when we talk, like when you actually talk out, we are going to be attacked, or doors are going to be closed, because people will know that youth said this, so we won't have any means of action. And then I believe maybe a way we can change it is maybe we can try and access, I don't know, we can try and just break down the social narrative that says 1 + 1 is equal to 2. Maybe we can just try and be unafraid and try and come up with different innovative ways as a youth group to actually get around that whole freedom of expression, fear, and stigma that we have as a country. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your answers. I thought they were really interesting. And yeah, it's also really interesting where differences there that you might not always have access to the laws or the knowledge or where to find them and such. In Sweden, we have something called offentlighetsprincipen, which is basically the principle of like official affairs, maybe. So I think I don't know it for sure, but it's like in our constitution, and it says that basically anything that the government, every decision that they make, like everything that the judge, the courts decide on, like anything that has to do with the government, can be I as a Swedish citizen can go and ask to have those official documents presented to me, and yeah, I don't really know how well that is implemented either, but I think in my perception is at least that in Sweden we have it like very presented to us, but still we have many people that don't really engage in political issues. So yeah, that is interesting. Does anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah, like it's also like what you say, like what's so problematic is also like the what I hear from you is like most of the women, they're just like girls like that are being like harassed or like, and of course like also when I was a kid, I didn't know the laws then. Even if we have another system, you still don't know the laws as a kid. And I don't know how it is for you, but like I found it very good when my friends or when some older person, a teacher or someone said like, you know that that's illegal, right? If that old man or that have ever done that to you, it's illegal, like it's not okay. So that like an other older person could tell me as a kid like they're not allowed to do that. And like I listened to a podcast where it was kids who were abused by their parents, and the Swedish government then had put the law on the milk cartons, how do you say, the milk packages. So when they put like the milk package on the food table, the kid could read and see that you're not, like the new law is like you're no longer allowed to beat your children. And one of the kids read that and said, you're not allowed to like beat me up anymore. You know, that like that was like really powerful to hear that. But I hear that you're not having radio and TV. I mean, it's all kind of ways to like spread information. But do you found it how do you say, how do you find that you spread information, or how do you find that you can develop to reach your goals? Like, is it to spread information, or is it talks, or how do you, like, if you understood my question? I don't.
I really can understand the question. I think one of the ways we can help spread this information here is through sensitizations, dialogue sessions with different youths and different groups, safe space meetings that allow for conversation that won't leave that space, and also social media, especially for the youths. I think a lot of youths are using social media right now. And then for those on social media, that's those in urban areas and those who are connected. And then for those who are not connected in the digital age, we can use sensitization, town hall meetings with community leaders and youths of different communities.
Tokosile, do you have your hand raised, or? Okay.
It was still raised. I have typed my question in the chat box, so perhaps you can just go through it. So my questions were, how have you been bridging the gap with sensitization on virus? Sorry, just a second. It's actually my bedtime. So I was saying, how have you been bridging the gap with sensitization on various issues? What methods or ways, for instance, the hashtag, is it open to everyone? And then my other question is, which areas of that advocacy do you individually focus on? I believe from the beginning of the conversation, perhaps everybody had their, like, some focus they were having on their mind or something, more like questions and things like that. And also, are there any means, ideas, and ways that we can collaborate to help ending early marriages in Zambia? So those are just 3 questions.
And before you go in and answer the question, I would say this will be the last questions for the evening. Because then we will have to finish the meeting. I know you have lots of more questions, and hopefully we can have this meeting again. But I'll let these 3 questions be the last for today or this evening. Someone wants to answer them?
I can answer. Or Sophia, you were on it.
I don't. You can start.
Okay, I don't know in which end I should start. Let me see. Look at I can start with the hashtag. Yeah, it was open for everyone, and I used to have to say I don't know how it is for you, if you can, like, if it's okay to have an open hashtag, and yeah. So no, it was open for everyone, and that was really great because everyone was talking about it in my school. So this was like 2 years ago, so it was very recently, or like 2.5, I don't remember, but and everyone talked about it at school the other day. And for me as a woman, I was like, it's so obvious that stuff like that was happening, but for a lot of, especially guys, they were like, oh, I didn't know it was like this many. So for them, it was a shock to see that pretty much everyone, like their friends, their maybe relatives, posted this hashtag. So it's really good. I know in China they're having problem with spreading the hashtag because they're not allowed for the government. So they have exchanged Me Too to Rice Bunny. So they're still using it to know that every woman know that the Rice Bunny means Me Too, because they were not allowed to use it. But yeah, so that's answering that. It was open. And then which areas of advocacy are you focusing on? So I'm doing a master in political science, and I'm focusing on like migration questions, like labor migration, and I'm focusing on human rights, feminism, and I'm really like on the side from that. I'm really interested in stopping child marriage, like this hunger project that I'm in. Like you can buy, like I have bought a face mask also to stop child marriage, and I bought this ring. So like there's some things that we can engage with, but like I don't have that much information, but I wish I knew more. Like anyone else who knows more?
Well, to me, like areas of advocacy that I focus a lot of is like migration issues and integration issues. I don't really know why. I think it's like the question of like being able to move and having the right to get away from hardships and like being prosecuted and followed and threatened. I think like it's such a basic humane thing to be able to move away from that and get a move wherever you want to, because humans are in fact mobile creatures. We're not built to the ground. So that is something that I personally am very engaged in. But yeah, as Gabriella said, like, and as many of you have said, like the basic core is like feminist, like gender equality, like feels like it's kind of the basic of the foundation, at least for me. The environment is also issues, and other means, ideas, and ways we could collaborate. Not that I can come or think of now, but if it would be amazing if we together could do something, our two organizations, our two groups, if we could plan or do something to engage in each other's activities and help end child marriages in Zambia. I think that would be, I would be open to that, but I don't have any direct ideas of this moment, no.
Yeah, I can tell you that I Am Sweden is partnering. I'm not sure if we are partnering with NGOCC or with Young Women Network. I don't know which organization it is, but I Am is a partner organization, and I Am is working together to end child marriage as a whole organization. But of course, if we in the project I'm Young together with your organization, we can also do that in our ways. Some more answers? No.
No, you're saying that like that I would really like that if we could help each other out, like with organizations, like that would be super great. I think just to keep in touch and like come up with suggestions, and I think that would be great.
Yes. Wow, that was a little bit longer than we planned, but it was amazing 1.5 hours together with you. And as I said before, this doesn't have to be the first and last. We can keep having digital fikas together, because I know we have lots of more questions to ask to each other. Because I know that you are a bunch of very intelligent, smart, and very like I can see that you really want to know a lot about each other's organizations and countries and situations, and how it is to be a young person in Zambia and a young person in Sweden. So I hope that we can redo this meeting again soon. And we soon will start a social media platform, I'm Sweden. And I hope that you can follow us and follow the work that we are doing in the project together with the ambassadors. And if you want some contact info for some of the ambassadors or with me, send a text in the chat and we can share them with you. And if you want to know more about I Am, then you can visit our website, iamsweden.org. Also, maybe you will find some of your work on the website that we're writing about. So from me, thank you so much for taking this time. I know that you're past bedtime now, Zukozile. We will let you go to bed. Thank you so much for tonight, and I wish you good health. Take care of each other, stay healthy, and have a good evening.
Thank
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So nice meeting you all.
Thank you.
Bye. Yeah, of NGOCC Secretariat,
so
like to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.